Little Village, which is really a dynamic community. It's an environmental justice community. It's just a really intense moment for environmental justice in the city of Chicago. And I think everywhere right now is just a really important, critical moment for us to talk about environmental justice, to talk about communities of color and what we're enduring, and to talk about what this means in general. So this tour is coming at a very critical time where folks would take businessmen who are interested in relocating their businesses, right, and would start to speculate on where they could locate their industries, right? And that's actually where we get, like, we're gonna, at our first stop, where a lot of industries start moving out west, out of the central business district, and into places like eventually Little Village. So really the origins of Little Village, right, at that time it was Crawford, right, was with the movement of industry. At that time, how kind of racial formation, how racial discrimination has been such a prominent force in this city. Whereas you have in the early 20th century, you have Mexicano workers, you have of course the great migration of black workers to the city of Chicago. So we worked to create this beautiful garden. It makes me so happy because before I used to come here, when I started working at LVEJO, and there were members here, Don Alejandro. All day long here. You know, a lot of families and mothers particularly would say, my kids have asthma, my kids have illnesses, and they would think that it was their fault, right? That it was their fault that their kids had problems, right? When in reality, what it means to be in an environmental justice community is it's not your fault. Who's at fault are having these plants in our neighborhoods right next to where we live, right? Impacting us like that. This is the Crawford plant. It's at a very intense moment. There's been community meetings the last month or so with the company and the community of Little Village. This struggle continues. For the last few years, we've been talking to the community about what should we put here on this site. What do we want to see? What is going to contribute to the people of Little Village? And what we're hearing from people is training centers, right? For young people and workers, right? And small businesses. People are very interested in urban agriculture, right? What would it mean to have an indoor urban agriculture? Obviously you have to clean up the site, you have to remediate, it's called remediation. You have to remediate the site, right? Right? People are talking a lot about a mercado, right? What would it mean to have a beautiful market for people to sell their goods? Little Village has an amazing food vendor community, right? So what would it mean to have that space, right? What does justice look like? But when we started working with, there was the option, do you want to remediate? This is very contaminated. But the question is, where do you put all that contaminated stuff, right? Is that going to just go and impact another community? And so the community actually decided that the other option was to cap. You put basically an engineered cap that caps the site. And that's how that's what the community decided to do, because that was the better option. So that's why it's elevated.